Right. Good afternoon, all, and welcome to this lecture of electronics. And we were studying memory, right? So we have completed almost dynamic memory and construction of static memory as well. So today we are going to start with the working of the static memory, which in which we are expecting to study the how the right operation is performed in the static memory, right? So let me introduce myself. Myself, Dr. Andy Meshram, Head and Associate Professor, Department of Electronics, Sri Mathura Das Mohta College of Science, Nagpur. And today we are going to study about how the right operation is performed in the static RAM. Now, this is the photo of that static RAM which I have attached to my presentation. Let us begin with that. So you know the basic 60 cell of construction of the static RAM, which is shown over here. And we are having this word line. This is connected to both the transistors over here. That is MA1 and MA2. I guess it is visible to you. And these word lines are there. So word lines are same. So if you give word line high, then these transistors will be on. These are actually the enhancement type of a transistors, enhancement type of MOSFETs, right over there, which are called as the bypass transistors. So these MA1 and MA2 are actually called as the bypass transistors, whereas this MP1, MN1, MP2, and MN2 are actually the cross-coupled inverters that I have shown you yesterday, and they are being energized by 3 volt over here, right? So this 2 points, that is D1 and D2, are the 2 points where we are expecting the output. So this is the Q point and this is the Q bar point over here, right? And this is the bit line, which is over here, and this is bit line bar on the second side. So there we are expecting the output to come. Right now, we will see how we are going to write a zero to a cell, right? So first consider the case when the cell is in zero state. So initially it was zero. So we are again trying to write zero over here, right? So if we are expecting to write zero, or we are expecting to load this zero in this particular cell, right, memory cell, then what is the condition that happens? So when we set the bit lines to the same voltage than the cell, it can be seen that not much happens. The excess transistors have VDS equal to zero, and the current I1 and I2 are also zero, right? So these are I1 and I2 are zero, which implies that the zero is already written over here, so there will be not much change. So nothing happens over there in that. So it is already zero written over here, right? What we have done is we have just given positive 3 volts, since we are applying 0 volt on the bit line, and we are expecting that zero to be loaded in this cell. This is a 1 bit memory cell where we are expecting to learn how the data is written in the 60 cell, right? So that is actually the static memory where we are employing 6 transistors. Okay, so this is the plus 3 volt, which is over here, which is applied to the bit line bar, and correspondingly 0 volt is applied on this part, right? So now let us consider. So this was for to write a zero, in which we are already having the zero over there in the set. So there is not much happens. Now let us see when it is already having a one over here inside it, then how zero can be loaded to it, right? So this, the writing begins with setting word line to 3 volts. So now the word line, which is over here, now we are putting it at high. As soon as we put this at high, these two transistors, MA1 and MA2, will start working. This will start conduction, right? Now, since it is having one already over here, so this one is going to transfer to this bit line like this, and D1 goes towards the zero. So D1 should go towards zero. Now at the same time, MA2 also conducts and current in the saturation. So VGS over here, so this VGS, gate source voltage, equal to will go towards the negative. And as soon as the voltage on D2 exceeds voltage on D1, so D2 will exceed and D1 will decrease. The positive feedback takes over and quickly brings the cell to a new state. That is, D1 will be equal to 0 and D2 will be equal to 1. This is how we are expecting to write a 0 when initially the cell was having 1, right? So this condition, due to this condition, this becomes 1, and as a result, the input to this inverter over here will be given as 1, and if it is 1, then it is again inverted back, and it will have a 0 loaded over here. So this is how, and this 0 is again connected to it, so it will remain at 1. So this is how 0 is being loaded by using this bit line and bit line bar. So that is why we are having these two bit lines over there. So somebody may ask that why we require two bit lines. So due to that bit line, it is very easy to load the data. So the speed of transferring or writing the data in the bit cell becomes higher, right? So this is how we are able to write the data into a cell. Now, similarly, we can write one, right? So if you put one over here, then automatically the data will be loaded. This will be one, and automatically this MA2 will be zero, and accordingly this terminal will become zero. And as soon as this becomes zero, automatically by the inverter action, that is the cross coupled inverter over here, this bit line one, this D1 will become high, that is one, and again it will remain at 0. So the 1 can also be loaded like this. So this is the right operation of a 60 cell, where we can load 0 and 1 into one particular bit, one particular cell, that is the static RAM. So we are going to study in depth. So this is the smallest portion of a memory where we are expecting to store a single bit of information, right? So we can load high or low. So the digital electronics also only understand zeros and ones. So we are expecting to load. Now let us start. So this is how, as soon as the word line goes high, the data is being loaded into the uh, memory cell, right? So this is the time consumption. So on the x-axis, you are able to see the time, whereas on the y-axis, we are having the voltage. So as soon as you change the word line equal to 3 volts, the data which is over there is being transferred, is being written in the device. So that is around D1 and D2. So if the data is zero, then it will come down to zero. If the data is high, from shifting from zero to high, then it will load to D2. So you are able to see that it requires around 6 to 7 nanoseconds only to change the data, right? So this is a very high speed, and that is why these static RAMs are being used extensively. So the speed of that memory is also very high. Now, let us see the dynamic RAM. So, in a static RAM memory cell, the data can be stored indefinitely as long as power is applied. But in dynamic RAM, we have to refresh the refresh the capacitor. So we have to keep on charging it because of the leakage of the capacitor. So this is the dynamic cell construction of that dynamic cell, and the pay for this convenience is the amount of transistors, that is 6%. So as you know, this is the 60 cell, that is the static RAM, is very expensive. Why? We are using 6 transistors over there, whereas in dynamic RAM we are only using 1 transistor. So the cost automatically decreases of dynamic, right? And this is a bit line, whereas this is the bit line, whereas this is the word line, and the charging and discharging of a capacitor is over there. So this is how we are expecting to write the data in we are expecting to write the data in the 1T cell, that is the dynamic RAM. So let us say a 0 is represented by 0 volt and a 1 by VH, right? So the data are written into 1T cell by placing the desired voltage level on the single bit line and turning on access transistor, that is ME. So we are transferring the data on this bit line only. In 60 cell, we were having two bit lines, bit line one and bit line bar, bit line and bit line bar. So two lines were there, and on both the lines, we are expecting the data to come. Here in 1T cell, we are expecting only one bit line over there to deposit the data, whether it is zero or whether it is one. Now the data are written into 1T cell by placing the desired voltage level on a single bit line and turning on access transistor, that is MA. So as soon as this MA transistor, that is a single transistor which is over there, this is called as the say the transistor bypass transistor through which the data is being transferred, right? So storing of a zero in the 1T cell. So bit line is set to zero, and as soon as it is set to zero, the gate voltage is set to VGG plus 3 volt over here, and the bit line terminal of MA acts like a source. So now this terminal will be acting as a source, and if the cell voltage is already 0 volt, that is VC equal to 0, then there will be no change, and there is nothing happens on this, right? So if the cell has 1 with VC equal to greater than 0, then VDS will be greater than 0. So this triode will start, and the current IC is greater than 0. So you see this, how it happens. So the capacitor will start discharging, and as soon as it completely discharges, automatically 0 is loaded in the cell, right? And the speed of this is depends on the speed of the dynamic RAM depends on the discharging and charging of a capacitor, right? So here you are able to see the charging and discharging of a capacitor, right, like this. So it might require 2 nanoseconds, whereas in static RAM it is requiring around 6 to 7 nanoseconds. Okay, so now let us see how 1 can be written in the 1T cell. So storing of a 1. So for that, what we need to do is, and just have that the bit line is set to 3 volts. Now this is set to 3 volts. Then the gate voltage is set to VGG equal to 3 volt. Again, this is actually the word line that we are having. The bit line terminal of MA acts like a drain, and VGS equal to VDS, and MA is set into saturation. Now this will go in saturation region. Since VGS is determined by VC, VGS is equal to VGG minus VC. So across this, we are having this voltage. The further events will depend on the VC, that is the voltage across the capacitor. If VC is at high level, that is already it is having high, then MA will not conduct and IC equal to 0, and nothing changes in the circuit. So it stays in 1. So if both the voltages are same, then this capacitor is not going to charge or discharge anything. So nothing is going to happen if already 1 is there. Whereas if there is a 0 over there, then what happens? Whatever voltage we are applied on the bit line is going to charge this capacitor, and indirectly it is going to change to 1. So that will happen when VGS is equal to VTN or VCC equal to VGG minus VTN. So that is the voltage across this. So the capacitor will start charging, and automatically 1 is deposited or 1 is stored in the memory in the cell, this cell, right? And this is the charging and discharging of a capacitor. So this much of time is required for the capacitor to get charged, right? So it will charge up to say 2 volt, and is you able to see that it is taking around 10 nanoseconds to get charged. So 1 is loaded like that. Okay, so this was the basic of how to write 1 or 0 in the dynamic as well as static RAM. Now to read, we have already studied this, how to read the dynamic RAM cell. The bit line is pre-charged, and yes, we are using this word line and bit line to read the data. The charge stored on CC will be shared with CBL, right? So this capacitor is over there, and when MA is turned on, that is, this is switched on, the word line is taken at plus 3 volt. Automatically, what happens? The charge which is over there is being come over there. If it is 1, then it will show you 1. If it is 0, then it will not change. So the MA will turn on. The difference between the original pre-charge VBL and VF will be read out the signal, right? Accordingly, we'll have that. Now, the next one, how the sense amplifier was. Now, this is the construction of the static RAM. Sense amplifiers are used to detect the small currents that flow through the access transistor, or the small voltage difference that occurs during the charge shift. Now, these two bit lines, bit line bar and bit line, and we are having the sense amplifier connected to both of them. Now, the same case is for, say, the 1T cell, and same case is for the, say, the 6T cell combination. So we are having this D1, D2, two inverters, cross-coupled inverters over here, and these are MA1 and MA2. So this is the simplified diagram, and the sense amplifier is connected across both the terminals, that is bitline and bitline bar. This sense amplifier is nothing but a comparator, which is going to compare both the voltages, right? So you'll see that, which is associated with each. Hello, am I audible? Sorry, there was a network issue. Okay, so as I've told you that uh, that the sense amplifier is connected in between both of them over here, and this is pre-charge, right? So this is also pre-charge. So the capacitors are over there, and whatever we are having the difference between this bitline and bitline bar is being recorded by the sense amplifier. The difference of that is called as the differentiator over there, and it is taken as the output of that, right? So the sense amplifier consists of two inverter, latch plus an additional pre-charge transistor, as shown in this diagram, like this. So transistor MPC. So we are having this total sense amplifier like this, and this is for, say, the 1T cell, and yeah, the